All right, so we're back. Yeah, we're doing this guy, uh, Shunguang's brother. I'm assuming that might be a spoiler. Uh, I think it's like fairly early on though. It's like he just shows up. I don't. Listen, I don't read the story. It's a huge waste of time. I don't care. I just skip everything. Like I cannot press the skip button any harder. Um, yeah, I can't be asked. Anyway, so physical, ice, wind, electric resistant. We're just going in with this team. Physical, 40% physical damage. That's crazy. We can't make use of the bloom. When we get an anomaly, their defense is shredded by 15%. We can't use the sheer damage. Well, using an EX special attack with rupture agents. It's all just rupture specific. Agent, crit damage. Okay, I guess you can use that. 10% attack and basic attacks increased by 30 and defense. I think we're just going to go with this one. Even though like 40% looks pretty crazy, but 30% basic attack damage plus the crit damage and the defense ignore is kind of hard to pass up. So let's take a look at the team. I've been trying to get in the habit of showing off the team more. Not necessarily for you guys, the viewers, which I mean that's a good reason I need to be doing it, but more because I'll go in there sometimes and I'll change gear around, and then I show up and people are in the wrong gear, so to keep checking all this stuff. Again, I'm still running this. I don't know. I just haven't had a time to get a better set for her. As this improves, I'll probably start like looking for something like a crit damage set. But for now, I mean, it's fine. That's her weapon. This is my very proud Dialyn build. I can get her to 99, but it's not really that important. I'd rather just have her do a little bit more damage. Like, this is the one, if I were to swap this, it'd be this, and then she's at 99. But having her do a little more damage is I don't know, I kind of like it. Losing 2% crit chance is like, whatever, it doesn't matter. This weapon for stunning might actually be better than her own weapon. However, the main thing her own weapon does is it gives the entire team like 30% crit damage or something, or is it damage buff in general? I don't know. The point being is that her weapon's a lot better just because it has like some random team buff in there for no reason other than, for the sake of doing that. But yeah, anyway, this weapon I think is probably her best weapon. Outside of like Steam Oven isn't too bad. If you want to do a little more damage, this one's not too bad either. This is actually better for Nangong if you have her and you don't have her main weapon. But yeah, so anyway, that weapon's just broken on her. And then here's Sunna. Just got to get her to 3,500 attack with as much energy regen as possible. And I think I have her maxed out on energy regen. With her, it is a little more important because her buff, her little like EX special they have to put up every so often, it doesn't always come up as much as it needs to. So like if you don't have a lot of energy regen, it's hard to maintain it. Yeah, it just takes a long time to gather energy. So that's kind of why. And again, her damage is very indirect. Like I don't know how to build her. Like you could build her with crit chance and everything the same way I built Nicole, but Nicole gets away with that a little bit because she has the built-in crit chance buff and a bunch of other buffs on her because she's got 6 mindscapes. So hers is a little better. Here it's like, well, her little cats do damage and they're kind of indirect damage and they require your other units to hit them to trigger them to pop them off. You know what I mean? It's just a whole lot of like, it's really not worth it. So for her, I'm just gonna go full energy and that's kind of it. So as you can see here, it's all just attack percentage, and then I'm running this. Her weapon again. Honestly, I kind of do regret not pulling her weapon, just because her weapon is great on her, but it's also probably better on what's her name. Her Sunna's weapon is probably better on Yuzuha than Yuzuha's own weapon. The advantage that Yuzuha's weapon gives you is that it maxes out your anomaly mastery, which buffs your passive abilities. So now their passive abilities are maxed out, and she gives the entire team a bunch of anomaly proficiency. The anomaly proficiency only helps out anomaly units, but what some people don't realize is that Yuzuha is actually fantastic on teams that are outside of anomaly teams. Like I might try this later again to showcase this, but I might do this boss and replace the bunny with Yuzuha. And that team might even score higher than this team here because Yuzuha is such a good buffer for non-anomaly teams. And again, Yuzuha's main weapon only buffs anomaly teams. But if you run Yuzuha on Sunna's weapon, it gives like a blanket generic damage buff plus a bunch of other bonuses and whatnot. So anyway, the point being is that I think if you pull for Yuzuha, like if you have hindsight and you're looking at how the whatever, I think if you pull for Yuzuha, 100% just don't worry about her weapon. Yes, you're missing out on some of the what's it called? You're missing out on some of the AP and some of the and not only that, they both have energy regen, which again is fantastic. But you're missing out on some of the passive buffs because you're not hitting the cap for anomaly mastery on Yuzuha. But it doesn't matter because Sunna's weapon just gives such a generic blank huge buff that it just covers all that anyway, and it makes Yuzuha more versatile. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Is I would recommend if you're looking for a 5-star weapon for Yuzuha, just pull for Sunna's weapon because most people are going to want Sunna anyway for a lot of things because Sunna's actually just a really good unit in general. But anyway, yeah, like I said, it's just if you're doing that, even if you're not pulling for Sunna, if you want Yuzuha and you want her at her best utility, I would recommend just pulling for her for Sunna's weapon, really, honestly. But yeah, so that's where we're at here. Like I said, it's good to pull for Sunna's weapon because then Sunna can use it and Yuzuha can use it. But even if you don't have Sunna, I'm just saying Yuzuha could capitalize on it really well. Because it's got a physical damage EX special attack restriction, and Yuzuha can do that because she's physical EX special attack. So I don't know. It's just interesting that how broken it is. We're just gonna have to send it because I can't be asked to not send it. Ah! What am I doing? I'm like scrubbing out hard here. I meant to press this button, yeah, and I messed up. I meant to ult with Shunguang and then swap over to Dialyn.
Easy peasy, right? Evil distance. Stand down. Evil distance.
What am I doing? There we go. I'm messing up. Scrubbing out hard. Shunguang also has an ult, which I have to get out. I might have to just do the less damage rotation, like this one. We're just gonna ult because I got too many resources. I gotta just dump them all out as soon as possible. I'm just gonna ult with her. Ah! I messed up.
Big talker.
All right, we gotta rip this ult as fast as possible.
It's getting back up.
Ah, we missed out like the last hit of that. I should have just ulted and then just pressed the ult button. What I did was I held down the special attack button, which is like burns the stacks or whatever. But yeah, whatever. It's fine. It's not that big a deal. Yeah, my gosh, that's the thing with this team is if you're running like her best team, which is her with the Dialyn and the Sunna, you just have so many resources. You have so many ult states you have to burn so quickly that like you just don't have time to burn them all. You're just like everybody's stacking up on ults. But yeah, anyway, so that's that. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the Shunguang team. It means like you're not like struggling through stuff. Obviously, Yeshingwang's really broken and she'll be broken for a while. Eventually, she'll be phased out, kind of like Miyabi. But even still, Miyabi's pretty good, and we'll just have to like focus on learning Yeshingwang a little better. Like I said, I made a bunch of mistakes in there, which could have easily been avoided. But again, it's just the first run. After you warm up and do a few more, I mean, that stuff gets ironed out. But you can see I've already hit 37. I think I might be able to hit 40 if I really lock in and whatever, but I'll just do that for fun later. The most important thing is just hitting the mark. This is a really high cost team, so I think later what I'm thinking about doing coming in the future is like, what's the word? There's a lot of channels out there that are like, oh, we're doing this A rank only, and I'm not that good, so I'd recommend going to those guys if you're looking for that kind of thing. But what I might kind of do later, because right now, like as time goes on, right, your account just starts stacking up over time. Like my Sambi team used to be Sambi plus her weapon, Trigger plus her weapon, and then Nicole. That used to be a 4-cost team, but over time it's grown because now I have a second merge of Trigger, so that's a 5-cost. Plus, like, let's say, we're counting Zhao this time. Zhao doesn't count because we got her for free, but I have Zhao's weapon, which is the Tusk of Fierce. That's a 6-cost team. So over time, the points our teams accumulate will start increasing just naturally as we get more units and more stuff, right? So I kind of want to think about like doing a budget version where it's like, okay, let's do Trigger Sambi or Sambi Trigger with like Lucy or something. Or I mean, the thing I like about the Sambi team is Nicole's already really budget because everybody gets Nicole and she's just awesome. Like you don't have to have her at Mindscape 6 or anything like that. She's already awesome the way she is, but then you add a little more on top of that. Now I will admit though with Sambi, you can do it without Trigger, but it's just so much more boring to do it if you don't have Trigger. Like Sambi isn't really a unit by herself. Sambi is in combination with Trigger. The reason I like Trigger though is because she works with a lot of units. So she works with Soldier 11. She works with what's it called? The Rupture teams at sometimes, not always, but sometimes. But any attacker that comes out, she can work okay with her. Except for Yixing. Trigger cannot work with Yixing because first of all, Yixing doesn't care about stunning. The only reason Dialyn is useful is because she can cheat out an ult, not because of her stunning capability. Like, Dialyn stuns way too well and way too hard for Yixing for someone who doesn't care. Because if you saw there, go back and look at the footage. When I stun him and I'm not on Yixing during her ult phase, when I just stun him without Yixing ult phase, our buff is 250 for the stun phase. When I swap back into Yixing, it caps me down to 210 because Yixing ult phase does that. That's the trade-off. So Yixing can trigger she basically, to kind of lay it out simply, Yixing ult phase is kind of like you triggering a stun because all her damage is in her ult phases and all that does all kinds of damage. And that's basically, it activates the stun damage multiplier. The trade-off there though is that you're capped lower, so you can't get a higher stun damage buff than 210. So you're kind of capped at 210, even if you can stack it up more. The thing with Trigger is that she gives a 55% damage buff for the stun multiplier, but it's kind of useless for a lot of it because you're just over capping at that point. But anyway, that's kind of like that's neither here nor there. But the point being is that like Yixing doesn't work well with other like necessarily good stunners because she doesn't care. Like Dialyn is kind of overkill, which is why I kind of like using Zhao on this team. Because Dialyn gives you all these buffs or whatever, and then she also stuns. So half of Dialyn's capacity is to stun. And out of all the cast, Yixing is the one that needs the stuns the least. Because if she wants the stun damage multiplier, she just goes into her ult phase, right? That's kind of the point I'm trying to make, is that Yexing Wang does the least is least benefited by stunning capacity, and Dialyn's stunning capacity is way over what it needs to be for Dialyn's necessities, right? So again, Dialyn is still better. Or did I say Dialyn's necessities? I meant Yeshuang's necessities. Yeshunguang. Like these names anyway. But yeah, so that's kind of the point I'm trying to make. Is like I can use Dialyn with Yexing Wang, but like when you guys see me using Nicole or not Nicole, when you guys see me using Yixuan, I always put Dialyn with Yixuan because Yixuan can capitalize off of all his buffs, all her buffs, her cheated out ults, her stun damage multiplier, her 40% damage buff, all that stuff, and the ability to stun because Yixuan benefits from stuns, and Yexing Wang. Oh my gosh, dude. Anyway, Yixuan benefits from the stuns. Yexing Wang does not. So I always try to pair Dialyn with, like Dialyn's priority in my mind for me is always Yixuan. But when Yixuan's not around, Yexing Wang can use Dialyn, right? So if I had to use Yixuan here somewhere, I would have swapped Dialyn over to that team, and she would have been with Zhao and Sunna. But yeah, anyway, like I said, it's not too bad. It's just I had so many resources that I like couldn't burn in time. So over time, you just gotta get like better at like burning it. I like to do the same combo where you press Alt and then you just basic and then basic and then triangle to go back up into the air, then basic and then you know what I mean. The usually the fastest and most optimal rotation, you lose some damage, but the thing is, it's a shorter rotation, so you get most of your damage out faster, so you can get to the next ult phase faster. Is usually special. No, well, you go into the ult phase, you press ult, you special attack, and you dive down. You basic attack to do the teleport behind, and then you hit them, and then you do you do special to get back up in the air, and then you special down again. So that's kind of the main combo you do is EX basic EX basic. I like to do basic EX basic, right? So it's a longer combo string, but especially with using Dialyn, I think the best combo is in fact EX basic. But if you're using her with Zhao and Sunna, they can't cheat out ults as fast as Dialyn and Sunna can. So you benefit a little more from doing the longer combo to let them recover a little faster. So anyway, that was a whole lot of explanation to talk about Yexing Wang. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.